Hey everybody, Keith Worrall with OutdoorsFIRST Media. Tonight, one of the things that I really wanted to share with you is something that I learned growing up as a kid with my dad, and that is night crawler hunting. We had a little bit of a rain earlier tonight, and that wet ground forces the crawlers out. They're going to be up on top of that grass. What you're going to want to look for is areas that are more top dirt areas, not necessarily sand. The sandy areas are going to have a lot less worms, but the areas that have a little bit more darker soil, that like top dirt, are the kind of areas that you're going to want to focus on. I usually use a headlamp. Nowadays it works pretty good if you've got the headlamp on and you can tilt it so you can actually have the visor of the hat where it blocks some of the light, because surprisingly enough they're actually pretty light sensitive. If you hit them with a real bright light, they'll shoot right back down into the ground. So you don't want a really bright light because you're going to scare them. And doing this, you got to be kind of stealthy. Get close to them, get about 2 to 3 inches away from the body of the worm, and then quick grab with 2 fingers. And a lot of times what happens is half their body is still on the ground, so you're going to have to wait for them, keep tension on them, don't pull hard, and just slowly pull them out, sometimes backing in and then slowly pulling out again. That forces that worm to pull out of the hole without breaking it in half. So the other way obviously is the regular handheld flashlight. These are nice, these work great, then you're down to one hand. So I would definitely recommend going with a headlamp. The whole point of this is I'm going out tomorrow morning, and I usually use Berkeley Gulp Alive products, but just because I haven't done this in quite a while, I'm going to go out and I'm going to rip some crawlers out of the ground and catch some fish tomorrow morning on them. You know, he's got his body, he's got it tensed up right now. You can't get him to come out. You don't want to yank on him because then you'll tear him. Just hold pressure on it. Eventually it'll work his way out of the hole for you. There you go. Him in the Frable bucket. There's 2 right there. Good one here, if I can keep him from breaking. This one's not out of the hole very far. This is where if you rip on them too much, you'll break them right in half if they're just their head sticking out. So you really got to have patience. Just kind of let them do their thing, let their muscles loosen up, and they'll come out eventually. And you end up with a full crawler instead of half. That's a big one.
Whew.
Dandy there. Catch me a couple walleyes on that one. This is the kind of stuff though that, you know, you take your kids outside and teach them something like this. I mean, not only are you having a great time with your kids, but you're giving them an opportunity that they can't get anywhere else. They're going to go out, they're going to use this for the rest of their life. I can't tell you the amount of times I was in Canada walleye fishing with my dad, and it was hard finding crawlers. We couldn't find live bait anywhere, and we just prayed for a good rain or a heavy dew. You know, if you get a little heavy dew throughout the night, they'll come out, but it'll be a little bit later. You get a good rainfall, they're out right at dark. And something like that, the few times that we fished in Canada and you couldn't get live bait, that was great for us because we were able to go out and pick a couple dozen in a night and go out and hammer the walleyes. So it's definitely something that you can use for the rest of your life. And if you don't have a lot of money, this will save you that money on buying bait. You can go out and just pick it yourself. We just got in. We got probably close to a dozen crawlers. I don't really need a lot more than that. I'm just going to go out and try to get a couple walleyes in the morning for breakfast. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is you can either dig some of the dirt in your yard up, throw that in with the crawlers. That way they'll get a little bit of nutrients and things that they need if you're going to keep them in the fridge for long periods of time, and that gives them something to feed on. Or you can go to town, you can get the worm bedding, you can buy the extra feed that you put inside the worm bedding so the worms actually have something that they can eat while they're crawling through that bedding, especially if they're going to be in your fridge for a couple of weeks. or you can go the cheap route. That's what I was going to show you today. Newspaper. Your typical regular newspaper, gray-sided, the stuff that doesn't have any of the shiny plastic coating over it. Let's say like this piece here, that's got the shiny protective coating over it. That's not going to soak up the water as good as the regular old newspaper. So newspaper, all it's really doing is creating a moist layer to keep them cool during the daytime, and to keep them so they feel like they've got a barrier. They can kind of crawl around underneath the newspaper, and it keeps them moist. That's a big deal. So what I do with the newspaper is just tear it into a couple of long sheets like that, and tear those up again. Doesn't take a lot. It's a pretty small container. I can probably take this frable container, I can put about 4 dozen crawlers in and keep them good throughout for a couple of months if I put the right feed in for them. So, and then what you're going to want to do is start from the tore end. That's my crawlers from tonight. I'm just going to take and tear about 1-inch pieces all the way to the end. Now you got your crawlers mixed in with the newspaper trimmings, and all you want to do is just go over to the sink. You don't want to spray a lot of water in there because you don't want to drown the crawlers. So you pretty much just want to put enough water in there to make the paper wet. So I'm going to give it 2 or 3 little squirts, maybe 4. That paper is going to soak up that water. That's your crawler bedding. Quick, easy fix. A couple crawlers in there, up on top. The rest are down on the bottom. That's going to create that moisture barrier that they need to survive and keep them alive for you for a few days. And that's all I'm looking for. A couple of days, keep these things alive, and hopefully go out and catch a couple walleyes.
Well, not the biggest walleye, but you can only allowed one under 14 anyways, so I'll eat him. That's a better fish there, boy. That's much better. Well, that would be why. It's a big smallmouth. Come on, buddy. There we go. Nice. Big smallie.
It's off those crawlers I picked last night. What a dandy. Put up a good fight too. I'll let that one go back and get a little bigger. Got 1 walleye so far this morning. Need to get 1 more, and then I might go after muskies.
There we go. Here's my second eater.
giant fish, but perfect with breakfast. Just in time too, I ran out of crawlers.